Question 14. The group frequency table shows the information about weekly wages for 160 office workers. So if we look at this table, we can see that 22 people earned between £200 and £300, 10 people earned between £600 and £700. Complete the following cumulative frequency table. Okay, so what they're saying is no people earned £100 or less than £100. 10 people earned £200 or less than £200. So now we need to work out how many people earned £300 or less than £300. Well, that's going to be both of these two values. So adding those together, you get 32. X is less than or equal to 400. So now we need to add the 46 onto that as well. So that's going to give us 78. Now we're going to add, now we're going to go to 500, so we're going to add the 54 onto it as well. Okay, so that's going to give us 132. Less than or equal to 600, so we need another 18 now. So that's 150. Less than or equal to 700, another 10 of them. So that's 160. And I'm going to check before I go on that I've got the right number by here, because it should add up to 160, and it does. So I know I got that right. Okay. Using the graph paper opposite, draw a cumulative frequency curve for the weekly wages of the 160 office workers. Okay, so here's the graph. Before we start, we always check scale. So going up the y-axis, it's from 0 to 40. I know that's 20. So I know that's 10. That's 30, etc. And looking at this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each small division going up the y-axis is 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. There we are. Going across the bottom, we're going 0, 100, 200, 300, 400. So I know that's 50. And I know that every little division here is 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. So I know how these scales work before I start. Okay, plotting the points on. So x is less than or equal to 100 was 0, so 0 by here. Less than or equal to 200 was 10, so up 10. Less than or equal to 300 is 32, so there's 30, 32. Less than or equal to 400 was 78, so up to 78, that's 60, that's 70. 78 is going to be by there. 500 is going to be less than or equal to 132. So that's 120, 130, 132. And less than 600 is 150. So there's 150 by here. And finally, less than 700, less than or equal to 700 is 160 by here. Joining them up now, nice smooth curve. Take your time. Do it with a pencil so you can rub it out if you make a mistake. I'm quite pleased with that. Okay, part C says calculate an estimate for the interquartile range. Okay, so the interquartile range, remember, is the, put it by here so you can see it, the interquartile range equals the upper quartile, take away the lower quartile. Okay, so the lower quartile is a quarter of the way up, across and down. The upper quartile is 3/4 of the way up, across and down. Okay, so the upper quartile first of all then. So up to 120, because that's 3/4 of 160. Draw it on, so the examiner can see what you're doing. And down. And on my diagram, the upper quartile is 480. Minus the lower quartile, Well, that's a quarter of the way up, across and down. So a quarter of 160 is 40. So we go up to 40. Draw the line on so the examiner can see what we did. And down. Okay, that's going to be at 320. Okay. So the interquartile range is 80 up to that, 160. Right, now it says estimate the number of workers with a weekly wage of more than £520. So, going up to 520 by here, and we're going to read this value off the graph first of all. Again, I'm putting my line on so the examiner can see exactly what I've been up to and how I've worked my answer out. So up I go. Take your time. So many times when I mark papers, I find that children lose marks because they haven't plotted points accurately or drawn lines accurately enough. And really it's just a waste of marks. So by there, let's have a look then. That's 120, that's 130, 132, 134. Okay, now this is the important part. This graph, the cumulative effect of it is that value or less than. So what we know is that 520 people what we know is 134 people earned £520 or less than it. And we want to know how many earned more than £520. So we've actually got to do 160 take away 134. Because all the people above that earned more than £520. So what are we going to get? 26. So the answer is 26 workers.